If you're looking for some of the best old-fashioned burgers and cakes in town, Lotta Burger is the place to go for all of your favorites. Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6:45 p.m. And the items on their menu include single, double, triple burgers, Philly sandwiches, smoked sausages, beef hot dogs, grilled cheese, tenders, fries, onion rings, and more. Call-in orders must be done before 11 a.m. No calls accepted after 11 a.m. Drive-thru is available. Hungry for a burger? Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. Don't just settle for any burger. Get a Lotta Burger.
Are you tired of going to the doctor with the same issue over and over again and never getting any relief? Are you tired of buying all types of vitamins and supplements, hoping but not knowing for sure that they will keep you healthy? Or are you getting enough of the right kind of nutrients that your specific body needs? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need a nutritional blood analysis. With a nutritional blood analysis, we can take one drop of blood from a prick of your finger and analyze your body's nutritional needs, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional imbalances. This analysis can provide an early warning of possible future health challenges so you can make the changes now to avoid the negative outcome. A nutritional blood analysis can be used to monitor a health challenge before and after adopting an approach to restore health and balance. It will also allow you the ability to determine the effectiveness of various approaches to restoring and balancing your health. So don't wait. Make your appointment. Stop guessing with your health. Know what works for sure. 901-602-7063.
Graphic Printing, located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, a complete print shop for all your printing needs. They do it all: color copy, resume, funeral program, rubber stamp, full color business cards, wedding and graduation invitations, and more. 30 plus years of quality work and service. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, Tennessee, 901-345-9294. Graphic Printing. CJU's Appliances, located at 3530 Jackson Avenue here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-487-7882. CJU's Appliances at the best prices in town. Sales and service, heating and air. Also the best appliances you'll find anywhere in the Mid-South. Refrigerators, microwave stoves, washers and dryers, deep freezers, dishwashers, whatever you need in used appliances. And folks will say they're the best used appliances anywhere you'll find. That's CJU's Appliances, 3530 Jackson Avenue. All appliances come with warranty. You can call them at 901-487-7882. Again, 901-487-7882. CJU's Appliances. C&S Motors Auto Sales, located at 2508 Southern Avenue, here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-323-8778. C&S Motors Auto Sales has been around since 1984. Go by and see Chris today for some of the best pre-owned and used vehicles in the city. They have SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, whatever you're looking for in pre-owned used vehicles. Hey, you can find it right there at C&S Motors Auto Sales. See Chris since 1984. They will treat you right. Call them at 901-323-8778. That's 901-323-8778. 2508 Summer Avenue, C&S Motors Auto Sales.
This is Sergeant Chris Richardson with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, here to explain the Tennessee Hands-Free Law, which is a new state law effective July 1st, 2019. In Public Chapter 412, it makes it illegal for a driver to hold a cell phone or a mobile device with any part of their body, to write, send, or read any text-based communication, to reach for a cell phone or a mobile device in a manner that requires the driver to no longer be in a seated driving position or properly restrained by a seatbelt. to watch a video or a movie on a cell phone or a mobile device, and to record or broadcast video on a cell phone or mobile device. So, can I still talk on my cell phone while driving? Yes. A driver is permitted to use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. The driver may use one button on a cell phone or a mobile device to initiate or terminate voice communication, and voice-based communication may also be used to send a text message. Learn more at handsfreetn.com.
All right, there we go. And welcome to Talk Back Live in the morning. It is now 8:05, 5 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock Central Time. And a very pleasant good morning to you on a Thursday morning. Yes, a lovely, wonderful Thursday morning. And starting your day off at, listen to this, 44 degrees. That's right. 44 degrees on the outside, a mostly sunny skies. A beautiful day to start your day on a Thursday. Chilly, yes, some areas outside of the city limits in the upper 30s this morning. That's right, 38, 39 degrees. But nonetheless, we have a great show lined up for you today. Hot topics of discussion, news that you could use, local, national, international. And the number to call is 901-213-6020. Again, the number to call is 901-213-6020. And you can call in and talk with us, or you can leave your message via other places as well as we are. The Spreaker app, Spreaker, is a free download on your mobile devices, your Androids, all of your computers, as a matter of fact, free download, and you can search Talk Back Live. One word, Talk Back Live, and then you can click the star, and that way, all of the shows that are on our station, when they're on, you'll be able to be notified. All right, and also you can hit us up on Facebook, and you could leave your comments there, as well as people are coming in already, and so we appreciate that. And we have a great show lined up for you today, and your comments are welcome. Yes, good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, everybody out there listening, watching, tuning in, all that good stuff. Another great show we got lined up for you today on this Thursday morning, which is our Friday. So we definitely appreciate y'all, as Bob said, listening, however you may be listening, whether it's on the Spreaker app, whether it's on Facebook Live currently where you can listen and see us. whether it is later on, if you listen to the podcast version on Spotify, iHeartRadio, sometime in the future, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. If you listen to any of those anytime in the future, we definitely appreciate you.
Anytime after this show.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you as well. So, a lot of stuff we want to get to on today, on this Thursday, a.k.a. Friday for us. So, looking forward to it, man. Real quick, social media. Follow us on Twitter at TalkBackLive. That's one word, at TalkBackLive. Also, Facebook, facebook.com. Search TalkBackLive with Bob and Josh. Like our Facebook page, which you're watching right now, if you're watching on Facebook. And check us out. Also, Talkback Live Network, WTBL Talkback Live Network. We are live on all of those areas. So, again, we appreciate that.
All right, Josh, let's get it all started. And in the headlines today, we've got we got going on over Shelby County, and a lot of things are, one of the big things we're concerned about is crime. How we're going to get it under control. Do people need to come together? Do you think people are already working together in Shelby County? Well, it all depends on the person or the way you feel. And you're thinking, well, let's talk about it. Josh, we've got a situation that's going on. The Shelby County Commission is thinking about voting on some cameras.
Yes, sir.
For not only just certain areas that are in Memphis, but they want cameras all over the county. Security cameras, police cameras. They want those. They're talking about putting them all over the county. What's going on with this story, and is this really needed?
Well, that's a good question. Now, y'all know the sky cam is what they call it. The eye in the sky, some people also call it that too. But, the police box is floating up in the air, up on that stand, and it's got the police light on there. A lot of people feel like that is a very effective way to fight crime around the city, because when people see it, it becomes a deterrent to people for doing things, because you're being watched by the police command center.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as big as Memphis is, they only have 5 of those in the entirety
Could
of Shelby
you believe
County.
that? I did not know there were only 5.
Yeah.
I thought there were more than that because, unless I'm riding by the same area sometimes and I see in that particular area that one camera, and I'm thinking those things are everywhere. Those, I think they call them mobile cameras or whatever. And I guess that's why they call them mobile. They could drag them from one place to the next. But, some of those cameras seem like to me are in the same all the time. So I thought it was a permanent fix. So I didn't know it was only how many they say?
5.
There's only 5 of those cameras.
Yeah.
Wow.
In all of Shelby County.
And all of Shelby County. And I thought it was a lot more than that.
Now, another thing people seem to have a problem with is where they put the cameras. Now, selectively, they're in a lot of what people call the suburbia areas, and they're not. You can find one of these in the hood, where it's
I don't know about that. I think that's where they are, aren't they?
No. That's the problem, and you're gonna hear it in the story we play. That's one of the things. Now, they're proposing to add more, and that's the whole thing.
They're proposing to put them all over the county.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. But is that necessary? Is it necessary to put them all over the county when, I tell you what, let's play the story, and then I've got some other comments that I've got some other things I want to say. Okay? I have some other things I want to talk about and I have to say. And we're going to play the story. Take a listen to what it says and then give us your opinion. 901-213-6020, or you can check us out on Facebook and Spreaker. Let's take a listen to the story.
Convincing tool for deterring crime, but Shelby County's office only has 5 of them, although more are coming. So county commissioners are crossing the T's and dotting the I's on a plan that would let each of them get cameras for their districts. Local 24 News reporter Mike Matthews found out that's not as easy as it sounds.
These security cameras, the police eye in the sky, they're now being used as a preventative tool, hoping that people will see them and go away. And Shelby County commissioners are about to get into that plan. It is about time, says Gilda Williams of Whitehaven.
Well, I think these cameras are essential because crime is rampant in areas around Whitehaven, and we want to act to avoid the need to react.
Not one of the cameras will be linked to the real-time crime center. Obviously, a lot of them will be outside the Memphis city limits, in Germantown, Collierville, Millington, and the other communities, and they will record what's happening. That's good enough for some folks.
We deserve it. We actually do. We have too much crime going on in Whitehaven. We deserve it.
7 separate governments in Shelby County. Each has their own police department. Each department has its own procedures. This is a good example of how the old saying is true. Nobody said being in government would be easy.
Each commissioner is going to have to treat their respective constituents differently than, like, for instance, Bartlett, Collierville, Lakeland, Munis may have a different set of ideas on how to implement the security cameras.
One thing for certain, they're needed.
The other thing is we've discovered we only have 5 mobile safety cameras in the entire county underneath the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. I think it's raised our awareness that during the budget season we really need to pay special attention to the technical needs of our law enforcement officers.
Still some things to work out here. Who's going to be in charge of putting the cameras where? How are they going to do it? But hopefully they feel in a couple of weeks or so they might have a plan. In Memphis, Mike Matthews, Local 24 News.
Okay, now I noticed in the story, Josh, they said these cameras will not be monitored by the police.
What, the police?
Yeah. They'll just be recording. So if something happens, they'll only record these situation and
after the fact, and
then you can go and then search the camera and find out what's going on. I mean, is that really keeping you safe?
That is interesting.
Or in some of these areas, do they really need those cameras? I mean, they want to talking about putting them all over the county. Do they really need them all over the county, or do we need them in neighborhood?
See, there you go.
In the neighborhood, the neighborhood to where they're really needed. Well, the thing about it is, just like former Mayor Willie Harrington said at Jim Strickland's breakfast, a year or two ago?
Yeah.
He said the black community is responsible for this crime, all this crime that's going on in the city of Memphis, killing black on blacks and all this. The black community needs to be held accountable for it. We're responsible for the crime. So, by him having said that, and like the lady said at Whitehaven, they need the cameras there. I thought they were already in, I was thinking if they got, how many, 5 or whatever?
Yeah.
They would have in the areas where they're really needed. So, I didn't, because I don't see them any, other places all over the county. So, where on I saw Summer Avenue a long time ago, I guess it's still there.
One that's usually on Summer is at that Kroger there.
Kroger
is usually like in that lot over there,
right? But is that a place where they need a camera?
Well, I guess they're watching, make sure nobody steals a car. I guess.
Oh,
that's about all I could think of.
Maybe there's been something down in that area where there's been a lot going on where they felt they needed to put that camera there. But at any rate, do you think that these cameras need to be all over Shelby County, or you think they need to be predominantly in the black community. I mean, the areas where there's a lot of crime. And there are a lot of the areas where there's a lot of crime, you got to admit it, folks, black on black crime.
I mean, that's true.
You don't hear a lot about white on white crime or in the white community going with this. You just don't hear it. And you know, we might as well face the fact and be honest with yourself. I think the beginning of situations to end is to be honest with yourself. And I think the black community really need to spell it out and be honest. Hey, we're the reason why there's a lot of crime. Most of the crime in this county and in Memphis, yes, it is by the black community, of the black community, to the black community, and we're killing black people are killing each other every single day.
But what are we gonna do? Like,
okay, and most of them in the black community, the police department, and fire department, everybody's always running to the black community because crime is being committed, killings, shootings, and murders, and all these other things that are going on, but predominantly,
if I can get
in the black community. Go ahead
for a second. Now, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, what are we gonna do? Is all of us gonna get together in a press conference and say, "Hey, I was a black man, and it's all our fault. You know, we is sorry."
Well, I mean, I don't want to go into that. Well, seriously, I'm very serious about that.
I know. But
okay.
What I'm saying is, like, what do you do? Like, as far as, like, when they say, and I understand taking accountability, but
right.
I'm serious, too. It's like, what is supposed to happen? Like, it's supposed to be a big press conference with the black community and saying, hey, we apologize for the crime.
Well,
like, what exactly does that entail?
I don't know, but I know that, you know, whatever's going on, the black community knows that most of the crime that is going on is happening right here in Shelby County. And you can't deny it. It's happening in the black community. Not deny it. And we know this is happening all the time. And the reason why we know is because people are always saying the black community need to stop killing each other. We need to work together and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't work. It's not happening. And I saw Verdell said he said, I've seen more than 5 in Whitehaven. Well, I don't know, Verdell. Maybe you were like me counting those same camera all over again.
They sure claim it's only 5 in the whole city.
Yeah, that's what they say.
County.
Yeah, that's what they say. So it's only 5.
That's interesting.
Unless, it couldn't be all 5 of them in Whitehaven because this lady in the story was complaining about they need them in Whitehaven. So where are they? But anyway, I guess 901-213-6020. And the other thing is, by having the cameras all over Shelby County, are those other cities? Josh, he talked about the other cities.
Yeah.
They're separate government from Memphis.
Yeah, and see, that's what gets me. You know, if y'all heard what the story was talking about, it kind of created this whole convoluted mess where if you want to get any of this stuff passed, right, because you need the approval of each part of the county's commissions, right? Because Bartlett has their own government,
right, and
Germantown has their own government and their own police department,
right.
So each of those entities have their own set of rules and government organizations that you have to go through to get stuff approved. So, and then that's not even counting the Memphis City Council and the Shelby County Commission and the police department and the sheriff's department. Each of those things have their own way of breaking down information.
Well, and not only that, you're talking about each one of the cities. You
have
that's Bartlett.
I just went through all
this. You have Bartlett, you have Germantown, you have Cordova, Collierville, and all of these other cities. You know, Millington. What else?
And those are all the.
So
all of that. That's what I'm saying. You include all of that.
They have to approve in their own district.
Yeah.
That they want the cameras, and so really because of these different cities, and different communities scattered all over Shelby County, and if they don't want to have it, then, you don't get Shelby County Commission can't have their way. They can't have cameras all over Shelby County.
But think about this. Like, honestly, that's a lot of red tape to have to go through.
Yeah.
Each of these little cities has a whole crew of members that you have to get a majority vote through.
Well, it's all because you have Memphis, and you have communities like Bartlett, Germantown, Collierville. Some of those cities, they don't want to be a part of Memphis. Mm-hmm. They don't want to say, okay, no, we do not want to be a part of that mess in Memphis. Okay, for whatever reason. All right. Now, it's been this way for time. Now, do you think it's time that these cities, it's time to consolidate? One government.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt that should happen here in Shelby County, is one government. I mean, Memphis, Shelby County or whatever, just one big community, one big police department, one county commissioner, no city council in every city and all that kind of stuff. I mean, but whatever they need to do, I don't know. But do you think consolidated government could cut down on a lot of this crime? And by being consolidated, you won't have to go through these small community cities, and then they could just say, well, no, we don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to be this and vote for that and this and wait on this and all that other kind of stuff. But a consolidated government, it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of good values, good things. You look at Nashville metro government. You look at Atlanta metro government. Other cities are across the country talking about when they are consolidated, the crime is less. A lot of other things are good in those other big cities because of one big government. So, do you think that Memphis, it's time that we stop playing around with whites and blacks and Hispanics? Everybody want their own community and don't want to be predominantly a part of the city of Memphis. Do you think it's time to consolidate and forget about all of that? Do you think it'll be better for us? Do you think it'll bring more money or productivity to the community if the city and county consolidate?
So Memphis Metro, huh?
Memphis Metro. Yes. Well, it's already, whether they like it or not, it's already called Metropolitan Memphis, because Memphis is the bigger city. And but some of these smaller cities don't want to be a part of Memphis because of whatever reason, more black people, crime, or whatever the case may be.
Well, and now,
but I mean, if it wasn't for Memphis being here, those little cities, Bartlett, Collierville, Germantown, Millington, they would have nothing.
But let me
say this.
Yeah.
But the only reason those cities are getting what they get,
you're right,
and the malls and the things that are coming to their cities, the reason they get what they get is because of the big city, and that's because of Memphis. And they're surrounded around Memphis, and they're close to the big city. That's why they get what they get. If Memphis was not here, and Bartlett was here, Collierville was here, those cities will be like Trenton, Tennessee. They'll be like all those other little cities out there that don't.
If I can now, because to your point, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Here's the problem. I think Verdell kind of hit on it in the last comment. He said, "You see what happened with the schools? They don't want that." GKP says it's not going to happen, Bob. You didn't think now, and I think a lot of that thought comes from the fact that knowing the people that are in government now, and that they don't want it to happen, and that the police don't want it to happen. And the sheriffs don't want to work with the police in that close a matter, and neither does the police want to work with the sheriff's department, and vice versa, if you want to say. Same with Bartlett, Germantown, etc. But here's another. Here's another thing. Here's another thing to that, though. You look at the towns like Bartlett and Germantown and Cordova and Millington and all the stuff that we named in Collierville.
Right.
So on and so forth. You look at what happened with the schools. What happened there? They were all Shelby County schools. Right now, it's all supposed to be Shelby County schools. After the whole MCS thing went out, it was supposed to be all Shelby County, encompassing everything. But what happened? Those individual cities said, no, I don't want to be a part of this mess. I don't want those certain type of kids coming to our district because we're all one big happy family. No. We want to keep ours in this circle. Germantown wants to keep theirs in their circle. And whatever else. Collierville says, you can't come in here unless you got to pay. And the same for these other districts. And the reason I always felt was because they didn't want a lot of those black kids that they feel were hard-headed coming into their school districts. And they didn't want to deal with it. And they almost said so publicly. Now, that's just dealing with the schools. So just imagine on a bigger or macros, people like to say, scale, with consolidating, the entire city together. I think for that reason, you're not going to see that because people don't want to be that close to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And working together. Heard from the police department on their end that they don't want to have to deal with the sheriff's department in some aspects. As far as the hierarchy, who's going to listen to what, you're going to have to come up with some type of system. When you look at the other police departments like Bartlett, who will pull you over in a heartbeat. Everybody knows Bartlett's reputation, Bartlett PD over there. Do they want to work with Memphis Police Department? Do they feel like they'll bring them down with the way they run things? So the way it is right now, everybody has their own thing, and they like the way it's run.
Right.
So Memphis is so divided all along every line possible, including government, that I don't think it would take a massive effort to get together. But I do see some positives if it were to happen. But hey, who knows?
All right. 01213-6020. But, I know a lot of people say that's not going to happen. It's going to be difficult. They've been saying that for years. The old city council and county commission people, whatever, were in years ago. That was the problem. Today, you're getting different kind of people in the city council, and you got different kind of people on the Shelby County Commission. Now, some people may not want it because they may lose positions, they may lose jobs, and things of that nature. But
some of them are extra jobs where they can get their in there.
Yeah. But anyway, I started a watch party here, and I'm trying to get out of it.
Yeah, just hit go back. Are you on your pad doing it? Then that's gonna make it more difficult.
Yeah. Okay, leave.
Yeah, just hit leave.
In the watch party.
No, leave.
Okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to be with that group.
And see, you don't have to end it when you leave. You just hit leave.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's gone.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll go back and hit another group in there. But anyway, 901-213-6020. And Josh, in other news, we've got. Let me get this thing together here and out of my way. Here we go. All right, here we go. Good morning, Kelly, and all of you coming in, Greg, and your comments, and Radell, and
what's happening,
GKP, and all of you coming in. See you. And, thanks for your comments there. And Frankie and some other people that were there, their names earlier. I lost their names when I went out. But at any rate, thank you for joining us. Hey, in other news, Josh, we've got a woman says she cannot lose weight because of racism. What is going on with this? She says, this is a woman now, black woman.
Yeah.
As black women or black people. Did she say black women or black people?
Women, actually.
Black women cannot lose weight because of racism.
Yes. And she was very serious.
Yeah.
Now, this post got some attention. And it was on Talkback Live with Bob and Josh Facebook page. It's still there if you want to check it out. But instead of doing that, I'm going to show you right now as well. But I don't even know how to necessarily introduce this whole thing.
I don't even know
because I don't know what the show is that's on. But it's almost one of those things you got to kind of see it for yourself to believe it. So here it is. And y'all let me know if you think she has a point.
Yeah.
Let me know.
And Jet, by the way, that group was it was only one group. I was trying to add several groups.
Oh yeah.
But you can only add
one at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah.
Can you add another one later on, or?
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, one at a time.
Because it's too much especially for that pad.
Yeah, I added the wrong group. It wasn't. Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna get it started, and we'll be back. It's only about a minute long, so here we go.
Okay, take a listen to this.
And make sure it's the right one. Okay, all right, here we go.
Being obese, I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We're moving, we're taking care of kids, but our food quality suffers. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet, than our white women counterparts. And what public health practitioners think is that our in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, did you get that? Maybe we need to play that again.
I'm going to play it again.
Listen to this again, folks. And, this woman says, women, what is that? She says black women cannot lose weight because of racism. Yeah. And some of your comments are coming in. We'll read those in just a second. I can't wait to see these. Yeah. Take a listen to what she has to say now. Look. Yeah. Listen to her comments and take it seriously now what she's saying. Okay? And, she may have a point.
Seriously.
Yeah. But take a listen to this.
Start blaming ourselves. Like, I hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We're moving, we're taking care of kids. Our food quality suffers. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet, than our white women counterparts. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, so what do we need? A black folks diet? Can somebody come up with a black people diet so that, black people won't have to gain so much weight because of eating the way white people do?
Because of all this racism, man.
Because of the racism, they're not feeding us well. It ain't
that.
No. Is it? No. She may have a point. Listen to this.
All right.
Okay, you have Kroger in Germantown. Okay?
Okay.
All right, now the Kroger in Whitehaven may send lesser quality food to the one in Whitehaven than they would to the one in Germantown or Collierville. And so therefore, black people eat. Do you think they send ham hocks to Germantown and stricoline, fatback, lard, and all that other kind of stuff? Chitlins. Do you think they sent a lot of that to the Germantown stores and Collierville stores? Probably not. Where do they send it? Whitehaven, Raleigh, Fraser.
Well, no. Look, here's what happens.
And they know, okay, that's what black people eat, and it's going to kill them. It's going to kill them.
Look,
she may have a point here.
Here's what is true. That's not, honestly, what you're saying is true, but that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about these diet plans, are not catered to the black. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know. Is the black?
What is the black metabolism?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just saying. But look, okay. Let me read a couple of these because I'm bust out laughing just reading one of them.
Let's go. You got to go way back though, because I know. Let's see.
Well, it shouldn't be way back. I just played it.
I'm not going to be able to. Okay. All right. JKP.
That's what I'm saying. She definitely has a weight problem.
No, that's not where it starts.
Okay, well, you go ahead. That's where it starts.
She can't lose weight because of cupcakes, ice cream, period. Cream.
Come on. Oh, man. Y'all are not sensitive to the plight of the black woman.
Jet says, what? Is a white dude constantly feeding her? Laugh out. Wow. Greg said, this story. He says, I wonder what took so long for this story to make it to social media.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, Jet responds. But anyway, oh yeah, she has a point. See, that's Jet.
Jet said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if Jet. We'll see a little bit here. Does he agree with me?
Now, I think to your point. I mean, that's the point, really, and I think that's a real thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's happening too. But she's talking about something else here. Okay, and what really tripped me out in this, she said we're living in the Trump era. What does that have to do with her diet?
Well,
seriously,
look, fresh you eat, is what.
No. I mean, I'm serious. What does that? What living in the Trump era? What is? I mean, okay. So, okay, I'm trying to figure out when she's eating what's going on with her and Trump.
Well, not okay. Let's say when people stress, and I'm not even joking. Yeah. They grab the chicken or the ice cream or the cake.
What are they stressed over, Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, come
on. Look, people are stressed, and I don't consider myself one of those.
We're living in the Trump era, and so that's why she says black women are gaining weight. You got to understand, we're gaining weight because we're under Trump.
Yeah. And
okay.
Look, they watch him on the news, and you see that orange man on TV, and you just like, oh, I can't believe. Give me the ice cream.
Yeah.
Come on. I can't.
Okay, Trump is to blame for the last 70 years of obesity. That's what Greg said.
Oh, wow. 70 years.
Oh, God,
goodness
Greg.
Gracious.
Jay says she definitely has a weight problem.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
She can't wait to eat. Oh, come on, Jay.
Oh.
GKP. Oh, my God. That's a low blow.
Oh.
She can't wait to eat. Oh, my God. Oh, that's Greg. I mean, GKP, that's cold. Congratulations, GKP.
Yeah, gotta give you a cake.
The comment of the day. Comment of the day. Yeah, she definitely has a weight problem. He says she can't wait to eat.
Oh, man.
That's a good one. Wow. Jet says, to a degree, because she can get another diet.
And that was a response to something you were saying there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, keep rolling.
Seafood diet. Greg replies to GKP, said it's a seafood diet. What do you mean by that, Greg? Seafood diet. It's not. I don't. Way he spelled it.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's sea. It means to look and look upon.
Yes.
Not sea food from out of the water. Seafood. But it's a sea. Whatever she sees, she eats.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
Y'all are some comedians today.
I don't know about that one, Brodell.
All right.
I wonder just how long she had been working on that pitch.
That's a good question.
That's a good one, Greg. Jet says, no, they're just lazy. I don't know, Jet. You know, those women seemed like they were pretty serious about their actions there and their words. Who is this? Lakato in NIM diet? What is that? Jet, what is that?
I know there's a keto, keto diet.
Lakato and NIM.
Laketo.
Okay, I see what he said.
Man, okay. he put a hood name to keto. Yeah.
Okay. The black people fault. Eat better. That's black people faults.
So who said that?
Eat better. That's Jet. That black people's fault. Eat better.
Gotcha.
Okay. Greg says, replying to Jet, Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. Wait a minute. You know what? I have never eaten it. Is there a real place called Roscoe? I heard that name.
It's everywhere. I don't think it's in Memphis.
It's not in Memphis.
I know they got a lot of them around the country.
Yeah.
From Cali to other places, you know.
Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. So anybody know, have they made it to Memphis or is it in Memphis, Greg? Where is Roscoe Chicken and Waffles?
It actually looks great. I've seen that.
Really?
Food, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out, what does chicken have to do with waffles? I don't get this picture.
You got to try it together.
I've had it before in the past, a long time ago.
I remember it was a restaurant.
Down in Winchester.
Yeah,
that was a sponsor of our show years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into a club. Some of you may remember.
Got shut down, right?
They got shut down after they turned to a club. Yeah.
Is it something else now? That place used to be so many different places.
It's so many different places. Yeah, it got shut down because of drugs and all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, at any rate, they started that after they
afterwards.
They were no longer advertising with us.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I had some chicken and waffle. And
they had a chef that was the bomb.
Oh man, this guy.
Yes.
Man, the way he cooked those wings.
Man,
everything. Wings and waffles. I mean, it was off the chain.
Then the presentation was great.
The presentation was great. Mm-hmm. The waffles were good. But I just don't get it, though. Chicken and waffles. Everything these days.
Well, waffles are, look, who doesn't love waffles?
I mean,
a good waffle.
We might as well go back to the old slop days.
Oh, no.
Yes. We have hogs.
You can't put chicken and waffles.
We had hogs, we put the food in the slop bucket, a slop bucket, you call it.
Yeah.
And mix it in and then take it out and, other than the hog feed, you would put some slop in a trough and, you would mix everything together and pour it in the trough. And the hogs would just suck on that stuff and eat it. And, man, I'd look good in the bucket. I said, what in the world did I pour in there? Because they sure make it sound good the way they're eating it. But at any rate, it's a bunch of junk thrown together, slop, what we called it. And people are cooking all these different kinds of meals today, chicken and waffle, what other stuff they putting together.
Shrimp and grits and stuff like
and
that.
all that kind of stuff. That's slop, man. Why don't we just cook the regular way? Mixing all these things together, just coming up with a bunch of junk.
What's a regular way?
Nobody back in the day ever heard of chicken and waffles.
What? Are you sure?
No, that wasn't.
I bet that was a thing.
No, it wasn't.
Oh man,
I never heard of it. Never heard of it.
But
it's just people putting slop together.
Quick clarification. That was Jeff Lee, not Jet, but Jeff Lee that said black people are lazy. The comment that you read. It's Jeff Lee who's coming.
Jeff Lee, okay. Yeah. Jeff, I'm sorry about that, Jet. So Jeff Lee, I'll give you credit for that if you want credit. He said black people are lazy.
Yeah, that you maybe read that.
It's Jeff Lee. Is he white or black?
Black.
Oh, okay.
Trust me, I think he'd get jumped on if he wasn't.
No. Well, he was white. If he's telling the truth, hey.
Nah, look, that's dangerous. I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna tell you what not to do, but I wouldn't advise that. No.
Okay. Brodell said the part about the grocery store is true.
Yeah, it is.
Is that true? What I was talking about, Brodell? Do you really think they do that?
And not just grocery stores, right? It's also the stores that are put around the black community. Like you see more liquor stores, you see more check cashing places, you see more fried chicken places. And some of those local businesses, then you can't help that because there's people in that community.
Right.
And they're going to cook what they know how to cook.
Right.
So you can't blame the government or a conspiracy for your cousin's, your cousin's soul food spot.
Well, you're talking about these major businesses.
The major.
KFCs, churches, and all that.
Well, churches.
Yeah, churches.
Now,
have anybody ever seen a Church's Chicken in Collierville or in Germantown? They put them other places. I've been asking that question for the longest. Nobody has ever satisfied me with an answer. You
know what though? Here are the chicken places that can make it in Germantown and Collierville. KFC and Popeyes can.
Popeyes is not.
Popeyes has just recently passed the test to get into the white community.
Where is it?
Oh, I bet it's you go. You'll see it there. I guarantee you. I don't know for sure, but I guarantee you will.
Okay.
People, they accepted Popeyes.
Well, I think that.
But churches, they will not go that far.
Yeah. Well, KFC, I think, is only in Collier on Germantown Parkway in Collierville. Mm-hmm. That's the only one I've seen.
Okay.
I've seen. I may be wrong, but why do they throw all of those chicken houses in the black community, predominantly black community? I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, we love chicken.
Yeah, they were. We were talking about what the topic was. What?
Yeah, what do we?
The woman says.
Oh yeah.
That racism is the reason why black women are overweight. So the reason black women are overweight is because of racism. The way their diet, the white woman's diet, white people's diet don't fit black people or black women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. JKP says, unfortunately, a black folks diet would have to involve duct tape.
Duct tape?
Would you stop it, JKP?
What, you got to tape your mouth shut?
Duct tape and handcuffs in order for it to be successful. Otherwise, forget about it. Grocery stores stock what people buy.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Lee says that.
Okay.
He says grocery stores stock what people buy. Well, I mean...
So he's saying that it's not necessarily...
It's not necessarily they're shipping other things down there. Okay, let's say you put a empty Kroger down in Whitehaven.
Mm-hmm.
All right? There's nothing there to buy until Kroger stocks it.
Yeah.
So Kroger stocks it with what they feel the people in that community are going to buy, or what Kroger wants them to buy.
Well, okay, so...
We want them to buy ham hock, pig feet, chitlins, strychnine, fatback, lard, ham hocks, whatever, chitlins.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to buy that. So we'll stock their store with this. And if that's what Kroger stocks the store with, they have to stock the store at first.
That's true.
And then the people come and buy.
But here's the thing. Now, wouldn't it? Don't you think it would affect their situation if the people in that community don't buy that stuff? They're not going to keep forcing us to buy it if we're not buying it, because then they're wasting money.
Yeah.
They're going to have to adjust their strategy.
People
are buying it. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
People are buying it.
I mean, those are black community staples. So.
Well, I would. Yeah. Okay. All right. Stanley says it's called demographic.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Greg's replying to Brodell. The stores order what sells.
Mm-hmm.
The demographics and the spending habits drive what the store orders.
Yeah, and see, honestly...
And like I said, too, I understand that.
Yeah.
But first, the store has to be stocked. So they stock the store with what they want the people to buy.
Well,
then the people buy what is there. They don't. If you put an empty store there, there's nothing to buy.
That's true. But
okay, but when they stock the store, they stock it with chitlins, they stock it with ham hocks, they stock it with pig feet, they stock it with whatever they want in a certain community.
Yeah.
Then whatever they stock that store with, those people would buy.
You know what? I think it's more like let's put it like this.
Yeah.
And I you're not wrong because and also too I think people do buy in certain communities they do buy those certain things.
Yeah.
Now, which really goes to your point too. But let's look at it like this, like Save-A-Lots, right?
Yeah.
You don't see Save-A-Lots anywhere else but in certain communities.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, that's the point. The Save-A-Lots, the quality of the stuff there is not as good as, let's say, a Kroger.
Okay.
Or anywhere else you'll think of.
So you're saying Save-A-Lot? You don't think Save-A-Lot is in Germantown or Collierville or Arlington or, in places like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know.
I do. I mean, that's one thing that's known.
Okay.
That ain't the case. So, I mean, that's where I'll agree.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Okay. Jeff Lee says, excuses. Greg, it's what I always say. If you so desire, you can use racism in nearly everything that happens. Now that's true, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
That is the truth. People will use racism on whatever, so if you buy a loaf of wheat bread from the store, they say, well, they put this brown bread here because it's in the black community. That's racism. They don't bring us no white colonial bread. Burdell says, I didn't stress under Bush, and I'm not going to start under Trump.
Yeah.
She says, that lady says in the video, you got to realize black women gain weight because of the white diet. And you got to realize, too, she said, we're under the Trump era. What does Donald Trump have to do with you being overweight?
You know what's funny, though? When she said that, the audience was like, oh.
Oh. Well, okay, what president do we need in then? Barack Obama?
Well, now, look, but here's the thing, though, honestly. It's funny because it shows how stressed people are with Trump because of the audience response, They went like, oh, man, he's right. I need to eat another chicken leg now just from hearing his name.
Well, hey.
Look,
you've got to admit, some of that food is good. Yes. Yeah, indeed. Okay.
So now we're going to give him credit for making sure we eat all this good food.
No, I'm just saying.
I know.
Like me being raised on a farm and in the country, hey, we had hogs. We killed them, so. But anyway, Jet says, Jet does not call black people lazy. Wasn't me, Bob. I got you, Jet. I think we done straighten that out. It was Jeff
Lee.
Yeah. Welcome, Jeff. GKP says, not in Memphis. What do you mean not in Memphis? What are you talking about? The stores not?
I'm guessing. Because see, you're going back.
Maybe you're thinking Jeff. That's it, Jet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Lee. Roscoe's is in Louisiana. Memphis has 901 chicken and waffles in front of New Direction Church. 901 chicken and waffles, really?
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a new place.
Really?
Like very new.
Why do they call it 901 chicken and waffles?
Because it's in the 901.
In front of New Direction Church. Where is New Direction?
Yeah,
I know it's been so. I mean,
you hadn't heard nothing from them.
I heard nothing from them in so long, man. Are they still witnessing? Jet Lucas says, obviously the chef who cooked the crack was better. I don't. I'm not going to respond to
that. I see where he's going.
Yeah. He also says Jeff Lee is in your area.
That's Jeff Lee, known personality in the area.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to him for watching the show.
Yeah, thanks for watching the show. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Very well. Okay, he's in the same business. Okay, chicken and waffle, Greg said, chicken and waffle has been a thing for 30 years or so.
Oh, yeah.
He said I visited Roscoe back in '92, but that's '92, Greg. I mean, you're a youngster compared to me. '92, that's when
Yeah, honestly,
Josh was a baby. I mean, come
legit.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, 92 is nothing to me.
But
I'm talking about way back in the day. I'm talking about in the won't give my age away.
But think about
70s.
Didn't they talk about chicken and waffles in the 70s? I know I heard JJ
I've never,
on Good Times. I know they had to bring it up at least once.
I don't think JJ knew anything. I don't think JJ knew anything about chicken and waffles.
I know he brought up them Big Macs.
Yeah.
Back then.
Well, yeah, but he didn't. I don't think they knew anything about chicken and waffles. And what's her name? Esther. What is her name?
Florida Evans.
Florida Evans didn't fry and put it on waffles.
She looked like she would, but hey.
No, she put it chicken and biscuits and light bread. Light bread.
Oh, Esther roll.
That's what they call light bread.
Yeah, light bread.
Light bread. Yeah, because
I still call it light bread.
Yeah, because it was predominantly then was white.
But why light? Like, I guess we didn't want to say white. Was that white?
No, light bread. I mean, but they didn't.
Light bread.
There wasn't too much wheat going on then.
True.
Yeah. All right, Greg says chicken and waffle has been okay. He already answered that. Okay.
Start blaming ourselves. Like, I hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create.
A set of conditions that black women didn't create. What does she mean by that?
We're moving, we're taking care of kids, but our food quality suffers.
Okay.
We are living in the Trump era.
The Trump era?
And
ooh.
And look.
She says
they said, ooh.
We're from food qualities, and you've got to understand we're living in the. So Trump is the one ordering these food stores to and and all these other things
Suffers.
to the black.
We're living in the Trump era.
Yeah.
And look, those policies kill our people. You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet than our white women counterparts. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, so the diet don't work for black women the same as it does white women because of the stress level. Mm-hmm. That's the answer.
Well, I mean,
because of the stress level, black women can't eat the same diet that white women eat because white women are not that stressful.
Well, now, I will say this. Y'all may be surprised I say this. I don't doubt that there is less, you know what, not just with white women and black women, I think overall.
Somebody laughing. I'm with you. Let me put a couple of laughs out there.
Oh, let me see. GKP said Roscoe's. Duh, Bob, 901 chicken and waffles, you know why it's called that.
Why?
And, because it's in Memphis, he's like, duh.
Oh, well, I know that, Joe. I know that, GKP, but I mean, go beyond my question to understand me, what I'm asking. Yeah. They put those in the areas that they sell more to. Okay, Jeff Lee says.
Mm-hmm. Remember, those comments are going back to earlier. So.
Popeyes has been in Collierville for years.
I figured. I didn't know, but I figured. You better believe all them.
Yeah, Andre, thanks for watching. Jeff Lee says stock is research driven.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. Research. It all depends on what people are saying, what they're buying in that area. Mm-hmm. But my point again, Jeff and the rest of you, if you build an empty store in Whitehaven, the people go in an empty store they don't shop for anything. They can't because it's empty. But Kroger or whatever store comes in that area, they stock that store first. They stock that store according to the area.
Yeah.
And so they don't, what they put in Germantown or Collierville, Kroger or whatever, they'll go to Whitehaven and not put the same things there. They'll put what they think and what they want black people to buy.
Yeah, and I think y'all are saying the same thing in different ways.
But I think we're saying the same thing, but it's on different ends. Okay? But you have to understand, the store has to be stocked first.
You know what?
Before people can buy it.
You know, the irony of talking about Whitehaven and Kroger. We know there is one because that's the one that keeps getting in trouble over there that we've talked about several times.
Yeah.
The Kroger that has, and evidently, I heard something about the health department inspecting them and them having several failing situations at that store.
Yeah.
And I guess they inspected them because they heard it was on the news so much about being nasty.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? You know, now if anything,
so you really can't blame the food.
Well, if anything, there is to blame, especially to your point on the black community in those stores. That Kroger in Whitehaven has clearly shown they don't care about the folks over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I know you looking at that, but
yeah,
I'm just saying, man. That Whitehaven Kroger, they've shown they don't care about the people there. Yeah. Because with them, all the bull that's going on, you know, the open containers, the blood leaking into the.
So that has something to do with the black community robbing themselves, because evidently they probably have black managers there where people can relate to in the black community.
That's true, but who's over the store? Like whoever is in charge, that's their situation. Look,
that's the manager.
Yeah, I mean you manage what's happening. If you hire people anywhere and you don't watch what they're doing, they're going to feel they can get away with whatever.
Yeah.
Why should they care?
So you think if corporate's not watching, then, you know, the store manager and all those other people in that black community going to let things go.
Yeah.
Or wherever, if they're not watching.
And that's what's happening. And I commend the folks over there for at least taking a stand and saying we ain't going to keep shopping here. And it seems like people don't shop there as much. Yeah. Why shop somewhere that's clearly shown they don't give a care about your community?
Well, does that have anything about what this black woman says? Black women.
Oh no, that ain't.
What black woman says black women cannot lose weight because of racism, and we're living in the Trump era. I don't know. Is there any truth to that?
Well, it is a Trump era.
Jet says, save a lot of your gas and stay in.
Jet's a comedian today. All of y'all are comedians today. I mean,
okay, but Save a Lot, GKP says, Save a Lot started in Frazier with no bags. What?
Hold up, is that serious?
Are you serious about that? How long ago did they start?
Hold up.
I mean, they're just now talking about it in grocery stores getting rid of bags.
Well, I mean, what you gonna do?
So, I mean, they started then with no bags?
What did you do? Just carry your meat out and stuff?
In your hand or something? I mean, you know.
Come on, man.
A jug of Kool-Aid and a jug of milk, and then somebody else carried the fish and the, you know, the hamburger or the canned goods or your veggies and you know, your salads. And I mean, who carried all that stuff?
Good grief.
Well, maybe they bought their own boxes and their own bags and things, and then when they got to the register, somebody that was there with boxes and just threw the stuff in the box.
That's possible. I mean, like I said,
that's possible.
I don't know, but you know, I doubt they went the Aldi routes. You know, where you got to buy your bags.
Yeah,
you know, Aldi, you got to pay. You know.
Well, I mean, you know, Aldi had some good bags. Like some of the bags that I had, those green bags with the handle, the cloth. Yeah, they're pretty good bags. You can put a lot of stuff in those and carry them. Yeah. So, let's see. Jet says that is true if you build a house with a dirt for foundation. Mm-hmm. Then a dirt, what is that? Dirt is inseparable, that is, from the structure. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
C. Lavelle Reed is watching. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
GKP says Roscoe's. He must love Roscoe's. Okay, Los Angeles, not Louisiana. I had said earlier Louisiana, Roscoe's is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I've been to Los Angeles. GKP says Dub 901 Chicken and Waffle. Okay, Memphis. Okay, I got you.
Okay, now you're where I'm at, so let me get some things here. He says I met Militant Save-A-Lot. Then he says, well, who created it, lady? That was when we replayed the video.
Yeah.
Now to Jet's comment here, he says you and Bob said the chef chicken and waffle place was awesome, but it turned into a trap house. the restaurant, so I was just saying whoever was cooking the crack must have been a better chef. So he was cooking the crack at the well, I don't know if they sold crack out of there, but
I don't know.
Well, I won't say no. I won't say no.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we should even say the name of the place.
No, don't say it.
It didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, don't say the name of the place. I mean, we were there and they advertised with us, and then one day the guy came to me and said, hey, we no longer can advertise with you guys. And bam!
Yeah.
Next thing I know, the
district attorney.
The name was off the building and another name was up. And they were clubbing and throwing down, if you can say it. I mean, they were doing all kinds of things.
They didn't even have
and
new place.
So, and then all of a sudden they were busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew.
They
wanted to do that anyway.
Yeah, I think
you could tell.
Because I could tell when we were in there, when they had that regular restaurant, there were strangers walking in with these long coats and hats on, and they looking around. You know how they look around. I said, uh-oh. I said, they giving themselves away.
Hold up.
The way they look.
That sounds like some 1970s gangsters.
That's the way they were. They
walking just like
in,
back in the day.
Walking in, looking around, and then they asked for the owner, and he come up to the thing there, and then he walk them back to the back, and they stay back there forever, seemed like it. I said, it's time for me to get out of here.
I do remember that, though.
And then all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah.
They could no longer advertise with us, and then bam! They had a new name. So then bam! They were busted. And bam! They were out of business. Anyway. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Y'all didn't know we had a studio audience.
Yes. Jeff Lee says malarkey.
You know what? Malarkey brings bad memories. It was the head coach of my team, the Tennessee Titans, Mike Malarkey. You remember a few years ago? I don't know. Look, you know what's so crazy? People want him back now because we actually won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Under Mike Malarkey.
Yeah, and I don't go back to the old days. Anyway. Yes, GKP says yes. They started with no bags. Wow, GKP, I'm sorry. I really am. And bam! Yes. All right.
Another T-shirt idea. There you go.
Another T-shirt idea. 901-213-6020. Josh, we need to...
Yeah, we need to take a break.
Do we need to take a break? Yes, let's take a break. Let's take a break, and we come back. We got a couple other interesting topics. Folks,
yes,
you don't want to miss. Seriously, you don't want to miss. And I've got a question that Jet asked me, what? I don't know what.
Probably a few weeks.
A month or two ago. He asked me, and I never answered it. Jet, I'm going to try, if I can, time to answer your question today. When we come back from the break. You're listening to Talk Back Live. Bob
and Josh.
It is now 9:12, 12 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock Central Time, and a very pleasant good morning to you on a Thursday morning. And some of you people that have checked in with us this morning, if you don't mind leaving your up on the thing there, where are you from? Are you from the Memphis area? You're from out of town, the East Coast, West Coast?
North Memphis, South Memphis.
Wherever.
Bartlett, Millington.
Wherever.
You want to rep the hood, you know?
Yeah. You're welcome to do that as well. 901-213-6020. We'll be back after this. If you're looking for some of the best old-fashioned burgers and cakes in town, Lotta Burger is the place to go for all of your favorites. Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6:45 p.m. And the items on their menu include single, double, triple burgers, Philly sandwiches, smoked sausages, beef hot dogs, grilled cheese, tenders, fries, onion rings, and more. Call-in orders must be done before 11 a.m. No calls accepted after 11 a.m. Drive-thru is available. Hungry for a burger? Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. Don't just settle for any burger. Get a Lotta Burger.
Are you tired of going to the doctor with the same issue over and over again and never getting any relief? Are you tired of buying all types of vitamins and supplements, hoping but not knowing for sure that they will keep you healthy? Or are you getting enough of the right kind of nutrients that your specific body needs? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need a nutritional blood analysis. With a nutritional blood analysis, we can take one drop of blood from a prick of your finger and analyze your body's nutritional needs, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional imbalances. This analysis can provide an early warning of possible future health challenges so you can make the changes now to avoid the negative outcome. A nutritional blood analysis can be used to monitor a health challenge before and after adopting an approach to restore health and balance. It will also allow you the ability to determine the effectiveness of various approaches to restoring and balancing your health. So don't wait. Make your appointment. Stop guessing with your health. Know what works for sure. 901-602-7063.
Big Graphic Printing, located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, a complete print shop for all your printing needs. They do it all. Color copy, resume, funeral program, rubber stamp, full color business cards, wedding and graduation invitations, and more. 30 plus years of quality work and service. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, Tennessee, 901-345-9294. Big Graphic Printing. CJU's Appliances, located at 3530 Jackson Avenue here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-487-7882. CJU's Appliances has the best prices in town. Sales and service, heating and air. Also the best appliances you'll find anywhere in the Mid-South. Refrigerators, microwave stoves, washers and dryers, deep freezers, dishwashers, whatever you need in used appliances. And folks will tell you they're the best used appliances anywhere you'll find. That's CJ Used Appliances, 3530 Jackson Avenue. All appliances come with warranty. You can call them at 901-487-7882. Again, 901-487-7882. CJ Used Appliances. That'll help, yeah. And welcome back to the show, Talk Back Live with Bob. Yours back on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Talk Back Live with Bob.
And Josh.
And it is now 9:18, 18 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock Central Time. And a very pleasant good morning to you on a Thursday morning.
Yes, sir.
And Josh, you can continue to make comments on what we were talking about and what the woman says. Black women cannot lose weight because of racism.
And the Trump era.
And because we're living in the Trump era. Okay? All right.
And last comment here, I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Jay.
GKP.
Yeah, he says, well, I'm sure after 2 months, he's going to appreciate you answering.
I get it.
He talking about Jet. You know, you're talking about the question that you're going to answer, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it now. Okay, see, now GKP has jokes. No, guys, I appreciate your comments on here. Now, I am going to, Jet had asked me a question a long time ago. Seemed like a long time ago, anyway.
I don't think it was 2 months, though. I think a few weeks.
It's been a few weeks. You know, I mean,
Maybe
well,
a week or two.
You take a few weeks, what, 8 weeks?
I don't think it's that long.
Okay, that's 8 weeks is 2 months. That's not that many. When you say weeks, you know. But, Jet asked a question a long time ago, a few weeks ago about water, the flood. And he asked the question, I don't remember exactly what it was. But his comment or his question was about the creation, I think, in the beginning.
Well, and I know, I don't remember exactly, but I know what it was referring to. This was when we were having breaking bread discussion, which was a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And somehow, this was when we had the situation about the baptism and stuff like that. So, in reference to that, he was looking back at Genesis 1 and wondering, okay, where did the water come from there?
Yeah.
In the beginning of Genesis.
Yeah. So yeah, if I may go there, where the water came from, actually there was nothing but water out there. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. And where the water came from, I don't know. So a lot of times, certain questions that people ask, really, you can't really explain it. But you just have to just believe what it says. That's why we believe by faith. Some things you don't understand. Some things you don't know. Some things we don't have an answer to. And those are the points to where by faith I believe. By faith I understand. By faith I receive what I don't know and what I don't believe or what I can't see. And so, well, if you go back to Genesis, Josh, if you could pull it up for me, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1, and look at the creation. Now, let me say this, and I'm very serious about my Bible and teaching. A lot of you know that. But now, when you look at this, when you're talking about God, and I lost my video, when you're talking about God and you're talking about the Lord, and then I lost my video, but this came up, the Genesis chapter 1. Okay, maybe it was meant to go away there. But if you look at Genesis chapter 1, and you look at verse 1, and then what I was going to say is, if you're talking about other gods, other people say, well, my God is Muhammad, my God is somebody, my God is this, or what a name of God, China or whatever God. What is his name?
Which one are you referring to?
Yeah, Chinese mostly people. What is
Buddha?
His name? Buddha, whatever the name is.
Yeah.
Okay, but at any rate, if you look at those people, those type of gods that people worship, a lot of times they come from things that already exist, that already are. But when you look at the God of who I serve and what the Bible talks about, you're talking about the God that said, that is not already is and exists with things that already are. He is the one that created it all. So that's the difference. Most other people, gods, are living in and because of the creation. The God that I serve in the Bible, he is the one that claims he created it all. And I believe it. And that's where we go by faith. And then to talk about, let's see, I'm going to get down to the water part what Jet was talking about here. In verse 1, we talk about in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now, in other translations says God created the heavens and the earth. It's plural, heavens and one earth. Yes. In the Amplified, it says the heavens and the earth. So here, what does it mean? In the beginning, not from the beginning of time as we know it, is in the beginning of a certain period of time. So God is from everlasting to everlasting. He's always been. But now as far as creation is concerned, there's a starting point. And so here, some people and some authors believe that it was creation started about it's been over 6,000 years before the time of Jesus, 4,000 years from Genesis to Malachi, and then from Matthew to now it's over 6,000 years. So that's what some people believe, that the earth is in the creation of the earth is only 6,000 years old, or a little over now. All right, so in the beginning, God created, and then as I said here, God, meaning the Elohim, which is the plurality of God. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Not three separate gods, but one God with three manifestations of himself. It is only one God, but he can display or manifest himself in several ways. So we have God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, which is one God. He created. So he made the heavens and the earth. Now, by heavens, you're talking about three heavens, and you're talking one earth. Okay? You're saying, okay, what are the three heavens? You have a heaven around the earth, which is called the atmospheric heavens. Then you have the heavens of the universe, out in the universe, okay? And then you have the heaven of heaven, which Paul said, I knew a man in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell, but God knoweth such an one that went to the third heavens. And so that's the third heavens he's talking about, and he saw things that he could not utter. So that's what Paul the Apostle was talking about. He went to the third heavens. He couldn't tell whether he was in the body or out of the body, so God translated him and allowed him to return. So you have the atmospheric heaven around the earth, and then you have the heaven of the universe, and then you have the heaven of heavens, which is where God resides. All right, verse 2, and the earth was without form and void. Now this is where Jet was getting to. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. There was nothing there. Nothing at all. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, as far as you can see, is all dark. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, it talks about the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, getting in place here, moving up on the face of the water. So when it says move here, that word is translated hovered or brood, or just like a helicopter would hover over something. And you notice that when something like a helicopter hovers over something, you get the effects of the hovering. Because of the blaze of the helicopter, it causes a lot of disturbance and things being blown around. It caused life. If nothing wasn't moving then, but when the helicopter got in the area, everything started moving around, getting blown around. There was life. There was movement. Okay? So you have the Spirit of God moved or brood or hovered over upon the face of the waters. Now, so here, the Holy Spirit began to cause life, movement, And so everything that's in the waters now begin to come alive.
And real quick, just to bring up, Jet just came back in. So in case you're wondering what if you want to address this, is addressing Jet's question from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
About beginning of Genesis in the water and stuff like that.
Yeah, and probably he can go back and listen to the thing again. And we were talking about the creation and the heavens and the darkness, the face of the deep. It was on the face of the deep everywhere, and the Spirit of God moved up on the face or hovered up on the face of the waters. And when he hovered, he causes, like a helicopter, causes movement, it causes life.
Yes.
So now the Holy Spirit, which is life, okay, when he comes in us, he causes life, movement, okay, action. So he gets over the water, God himself gets over the waters and causes life to come alive in the waters. And God said, now, you have God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy, which we talked about earlier, okay? You have the Holy Spirit in place, and then all of a sudden God began to speak. Now, the reason the Holy Spirit had to get in place is to cause movement, to cause things to come alive. And now once things are alive, now God begins to speak to it, to tell it what to do. And the waters begin to move and the wave and all that other kind of stuff. All right, so God here begins, and God said, let there be light, and there was what? Light. Not the sun and the moon and the stars. At this point, God created the light. Which God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. So here we have the beginning of the light. Now, God has enough to know. And in the beginning of time, God said, hey, got to turn the light on to do anything. So we ought to know we need to turn the light on in order to be able to see something. And a lot of times we can't see what God is trying to say to us or what the Bible is saying unless we turn the light on. And the light is the light of the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, coming into our life. Jesus is the light of the world. When he comes in and we have a candle, Proverbs 20 says the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts. But it blows. When Adam sinned, it was blown out. Now Jesus, the last Adam, comes and he says, now you the world. He lights our candle when we accept him. Now we have light in us, and that's what God is about, light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from darkness. Also, ever since the beginning, God has made a distinction or a difference between light and darkness, sin and holiness. And when I say holiness, I'm not talking about long dresses and no makeup, okay? And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, get to the other part here where it answers the question about the water. And God said, let there be a firmament now in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Now, my answer about the water, Jet, some things we don't know. We don't have the answer. But in the beginning, from what we know, what the Bible tells us, is that there was all water everywhere. There was nothing else, just water. Why was that? I don't know. I'm not going to give you an answer and tell you to, make up something. Well, we don't have the answer to all things. And God said, let there be a firmament, verse 6. God said, let there be a firmament, and watch it, in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Now right here, is when everything started to open up. There's water everywhere, and God put a firmament. Now, which is the word expanse. When it's translated expanse. Now, it means like an middle partition or a expansion joint. If you're a engineer or you're a carpenter or you do cement work, when you lay sidewalks and things like that, you know what it means to expand something. And you put a separation between concrete pads. Now, you can't just lay concrete and sidewalk and just lay it a long sheet of concrete. you have to put what we call an expansion joint or a firmament or an opening in between the every 5 feet. Okay, and that keeps the concrete from cracking. If you just lay it along sidewalk, it'll crack all up and break. But every 5 feet, you put in what they call an expansion joint or a firmament or an opening in between the concrete so that it won't crack. You have your divisions there. And so here, when he says firmament, let there be a firmament, a opening in the middle of the waters. Okay, and there is like that expansion joint or expansion opening. And so here you have the waters that are above now splitting in the middle, and all this water's going up and waters are going down. And so now you have the universe and the heavens out there, and that's that opening that God created. So everywhere in the universe was all water, but God opened it up. So now you look at the universe, you see what? Nothing but stars, you see moons, you see the earth, the planet, the solar systems. Why? All of that opening was filled with water. So now it's an open expanse, a firmament or open area. So he says, let it divide the waters from the waters. Now, and God made the firmament or the opening and divided the waters which were above the firmament or the opening and the waters which were below the firmament, waters which were above the firmament. Okay? So in other words, what he's saying is the waters that went down and the waters that went up, they were separated. And that opening is where we are in the universe. Now, watch this. If you get in the airplane and you look down up on the earth, what color does it look? Blue. Okay? And if you're on the earth and you look up at the sky in the daytime, what color is it? Blue. It's the same color that you see when you're up in the air, up on the earth, and you see it in the sky. So the waters went up and the waters went down. So that's what you're looking at. And so in the sky, when we're looking at the sky, nobody knows where that is out there. It's way out there. And so God made that opening in the universe, and the top where we see is the waters, where the waters that were just covering the whole universe. Now when you look up, that's what you're looking at. The waters, blue. And you look on the earth, and let's go down a little later, and it'll tell you where the waters on the earth are, where the waters are below. And God called let's look at verse number 6 again. And God said, let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. Under the firmament, or the opening, or the universe, or the expanse, and waters down below it, and then water up above it. And God called the firmament heaven. All right, and so there you're looking at the opening of the waters in the universe. You have the blue above, and then the blue beneath is where the waters went down into the earth, and then he called it, and the earth appeared. Okay, all right. In verse 9, God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, as I just said, and it was so. Now watch this. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. Like we talk about our seas, the oceans, and all that other kind of stuff. And God saw that it was good. So God allowed the waters to go down into their place on the earth, and then the dry land he called earth, or where people live, the ground, the dry land. And so that's what they call our planet. All right, and then in verse 10, and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw it was good. Now, I made a point earlier that all the other gods that people worship and name, they are a part of the creation. But the only God that says that he created it all is the God of the Bible. And they call his name Jesus. He's the same. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And Jesus was God manifest in flesh. Okay? All right, so, but that's the only God that we see, the God of the Bible, that says he created it all. The rest of them that you will never see that they said anything about creating. But they are part of the creating process as far as being created by Almighty God. And verse 11, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass. Now watch this. Here it comes. And let the earth, God said, let the earth bring forth what? Grass. And folks, listen to this. This is really neat here. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit or growth or produce after his kind. Watch this. Whose what? Seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. Wow. This is heavy. Let me read down to 12, verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass, an herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed, here it is again, he says it again, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the third day. We can read on down about the light when he created the light and everything. Then when he created man and all the other things. He created the cattle and seas. Now in verse 26, watch this. And God said, now keep in mind, he said, whose seed was in itself, the fruit trees, what, the herbs or the grass and all those other kind of things. He said whose seed was in itself, right? In other words, the seed that was in the apple, God created the apple. He put seed in the apple, what? To reproduce. Everything was created by God with a seed so it can continue to reproduce. Watch where I'm going. Verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air. Now notice, everything everything came out of the water. Everything. Okay? And God said, let us make, verse 20, God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that what? Creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Not other. Male and female created he them. Now that's not my point, but listen what I'm saying. Verse 28. And God blessed them and said, now watch this, here it comes. And God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now, some people would say right here, the word replenish, that means that there was life, humans before this, because God said replenish, and replenish means to do it all over again. Mm-hmm. Now, back in the original translation, replenish there was put there by this, but the translation doesn't mean replenish as far as do it all over again. That word replenish there means fill. So he says, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. That was the original translation. Okay? And then he says, and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air. He emphasized this all over again, over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And so, and now, here's my point. Every seed, everything God created had a seed. And so, when everything that God created had a seed, the herbs of the grass, the fruits, God put the seed in every fruit, and even in peaches, you get to the middle of it, you eat it, and you find a seed. So, God put the seed there for it to what? To reproduce. Now, watch what I'm about to say. Do you remember, hallelujah, do you remember when they came out some time ago with seedless fruits? Do you remember that? You could go and buy seedless fruits.
Yeah.
And that was troubling to me. I'll tell you why. Because when you're talking about seedless fruit, God in the beginning gave everything a seed. He gave everything a seed so that it can what? Reproduce. So now, if you come up with a seedless fruit, watch this, then that fruit cannot produce anything else. Now, even in man, God put the seed in the man so that he brought the woman to him so that they can produce, but the seed was where? In the man. And he would transfer the seed into the woman to grow the body of the seed that he put in her, like putting a seed in the ground. So, God made the fruits with seed. Then he made the man with a seed so that everything can produce. Then all of a sudden comes along a seedless fruit. And then all of a sudden comes along homosexuality and lesbian lifestyle, which is been, but now God didn't make the homosexual lifestyle because he made everything with a seed. Now that type of lifestyle was made of his own. So when you talk about the homosexual lifestyle, oh my goodness. When you talk about that, that is a seedless lifestyle. They can't reproduce. Because in other words, if they can't reproduce, then that's not what God created. And so then they came out with the seedless fruits. Those type of fruits can't reproduce. It's just like the homosexual lifestyle. My goodness, hope y'all getting this.
Yeah.
I hope you're getting this. Everything that God created, if it's from God, it had a seed.
In a natural order.
In a natural order. And if it don't have a seed, and the man coming with the man, you can't reproduce because the other man, that the woman, don't have an egg, don't have the ground, and cannot reproduce. So the seed that the man has that he's giving to another man or whatever's going on there, it's no good. It can't reproduce. So the homosexual lifestyle, it is not the way God created us, because the seed cannot reproduce. And then if the person want to be a woman on woman, a woman can't do anything. She don't have a seed to give. Mm-hmm. And the man that does have the seed is misusing it. And it can't reproduce with another man. So here, everything that God created has a seed. And it reproduces. And if homosexual lifestyle, it cannot reproduce. That lets you know plainly that's not from God's creative order. Whew, man. Wow. But anyway, everything we see came out of the waters. God opened up and he spoke the earth into existence. Everything he did, he spoke it. He spoke everything into existence. God said. That's why he said, you can say whatsoever thing you desire. Whatsoever you say. So we can say things like God, and that's why we can say things like him, because it tells us that we were made. He said in verse 26 of Genesis 1, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our what? Likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man, verse 27, his own image, in the image of God created him. Male and female. There you go. So the seed can reproduce. Created he them. And then God said, and blessed them. Who did he bless? The male and the female.
Mm-hmm.
So God blessed them, the male and the female. He didn't bless no homosexual lifestyle. He blessed them two, the male and the female, and God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish or fill the earth and subdue it. Now, if they're not multiplying and being fruitful and filling the earth, if they do it, then it's not the creative order of God. Amen. All right, so now the waters are there. God opened the waters up and made the heavens, the atmospheric heaven, the universe heaven, and then the heaven of heaven, which is the third heaven, which Paul talked about. He said, I went above the third heaven. That's my point. Now, if anybody have any questions on this before we go, we got just a couple of minutes. Your comments or questions, and those of you that remain, I know some people, you start talking about the Bible, they run. But they go to church every Sunday.
That is funny, ain't it?
Oh, my goodness. I'm not being mean this morning, y'all. I'm being just me. You know, I'm just me. Just me. You know, some people say, I'm just me.
You know what I consider stupid? You know what I consider stupid, though?
What's that?
Is where people say, you know, about, oh, that's, you know, you're just being, when you talk about being mean, you shouldn't even have to say that. Because you're not, what you're saying is clearly not based in hatred. It's based off of facts.
It's based off of facts and knowledge.
Yeah. And if you don't deny it, if you deny that, then I don't know what to tell you.
And then it goes on.
Now, if you notice, got quite a few people watching currently.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, can you see it? You can't see
I can't see it because I got my Bible up here.
Oh man, pull it up. But yeah, when you can.
The heavens and the earth, with chapter 2 of Genesis said, thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. What does that mean, finished? And all the host of them. That means everything that God created the way he created for it to be. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Now watch this. God created the earth in 6 days. Okay? And then on the seventh day he rested from all his labor. Mm-hmm. The Bible tells us, I think it's Hebrews, says there remains a rest for the people of God. Now we're in the 6,000 years, or 6 years, a day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is at 1 day. Now, so when you talk about 6 days, 6,000 years. So when he said he made the earth in 6 days, and the seventh day he rested. 6 days is 1,000 years. So you 6,000 years. So from the beginning of creation till Malachi was 4,000. From Jesus until 2,000 was 2,000, which means 6,000 years is 6 days. And so after 6,000, now we're what? In the seventh day. But there still remains a rest for the people of God. So then it talks about the rapture of the church happening. So when will this take place? The day of rest, which is the seventh day. But it has not happened yet, because we don't know the day nor the hour. But what we do know is that we will have rest somewhere in the seventh day. Man, and I say this because of the time of the way things were created. A day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as 1 day.
So you can see the number there.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I wish I had time to go over the entire chapter of chapter 1 and the creation, and teach you all of it, word by word, verse by verse, and everything. It is really, really heavy. So
Oh,
Jet,
and there's a couple comments here.
yes.
Jet said, is that because when we have the mind of God, we are God?
Yes, the scripture tells us you are gods, not that you are gods like, oh, yeah, you're God of, like, some people have gods that they worship. In other words, you are God. You are God's people, is what he's saying. You are like God, his likeness, his image. And so whatever God does, as Jesus said, you remember when Jesus was on the earth, he was healing the sick and casting out devils and all that stuff. And he said, the works that I do, he told his disciples. He had to remind us because of the first Adam, he sinned and messed it up. Jesus came along, and it calls him the second and the last Adam. Okay? The first Adam messed it up. The second Adam comes to straighten it up. And then that's why when he went and straightened everything out and showed us how to live and then went to the cross, he said, now, the works that I do, he told the disciples, now, let's start it over, which was like it was supposed to be in the beginning. The works that I do as God, and the works that I do, you do also. And then he said, and greater works than these shall you do. Why? He said, because I go to the Father. See, now he's given responsibility, what? From the creation the way it was supposed to be, he's giving creation back to man. That's why Jesus came. It's to give it back to us. First Adam gave it away to the devil. Jesus, the second Adam, last Adam, came and he went to hell and Hades, and he says he rose with all power, heaven and earth in his hand. He said, look, I got the keys. I've got the keys to the kingdom. Why did he have to say that? Because the first Adam gave the keys to the devil. He gave them up. Jesus went down to fight for the keys, took them back from the devil, and then he says, I have the keys to the kingdom. And he's handed them to us and said, now, whatsoever things you bind, I give you keys to the kingdom. My goodness. He's giving the keys back to us, folks. Now he says, whatsoever you bind, and the word bind means to lock. On earth, he said, I'll bind or lock in heaven. Whatsoever you loose or unlock on earth, he said, I'll unlock it in heaven. So he's giving us keys. Now you do what you want to do with the keys, because whatever was the keys were lost in the beginning, given to Satan. Now I went and took them back. Now use them. Yes. Any other comments? You said there were a couple.
Yeah. I was caught up. Frankie says, very good lesson. I won't buy seedless fruits.
There you go.
Terry says the Old Testament leads you into the New Testament. God didn't come to change the law. He came to fulfill it.
True. He didn't come to destroy the law. Mm-hmm. He came to fulfill it. In other words, what does he mean to bring it to pass? Mm-hmm. Why did he have to bring it to pass? Because in the beginning, the old law was under Moses, under the old covenant, the Adamic law.
Yeah.
His period. Okay. Now Jesus, the second Adam, comes and he gives the law and the. What does he mean? The law, not the 10 Commandments, the laws of that. He gives the law or the reasoning or the life back to us that was lost. Now we can now live with the power of the Holy Spirit, the things that God had designed for us to live and to live the way we can live. But he said, he said, behold, he said, go to Jerusalem and wait there until you be endued or clothed from head to toe with power from on high. And so he says, I'll send the comforter, the paraclete, which is the Greek mean one called alongside to help. Or he will come and fill you. The Holy Spirit will come and fill you and give you power to be able to maintain and to keep what I have given you. Amen. And so I hope you understand when I talked about the seedless fruit and then talking about the homosexual lifestyle. You can't produce without a seed. And if the seed is not going where it's supposed to go, then it can't reproduce. If it don't receive the seed, then it cannot reproduce. So that's why God in the beginning never created anything without a seed. And if it don't work in order, the plan that with the seed doesn't work the way it's supposed to work and be in the place where it's supposed to be, and the woman lying together, there's no seed there, and there's no way it can produce. God made every man and woman to produce, every seed to produce, and if we're not producing, can't produce, then it's not the will and the plan of Almighty. We're out of time.
And one can almost say, and I know this is super controversial, but one can almost say that's where the diseases come from.
Exactly.
Especially when you talk about men and seed into seed. That doesn't make sense.
No,
you
it
can't
doesn't. Right.
A seed giver into a seed giver.
Yes. Yeah. So that's right. Good point. A seed giver into a seed giver. The seed, the one that has, is supposed to give the seed where it's supposed to go. As a farmer and raised on a farm, we plant seeds in the ground. You can't plant seeds with seed and expect them to produce. It has to go in a place where it can produce. We're out of time. Thanks for all of you that are listening, and I hope you learned something. Hope this has been a blessing to you.
Hey, record numbers.
Yes, and hope this has been a blessing to you. And
if you can see it.
Wow, what is that? 170?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thanks for all your listening. Thanks for your comments, and you're blessed people of God, and thank God for His goodness, His mercy, and grace. Father, I pray that's listening under the sound of my voice that you would take this revelation and understanding, wisdom of your word, and plant it into them. And Father, let that seed bring forth good things, and then let it bring forth more revelation and understanding, wisdom in their lives. And I pray that every need of this person that's listening, you, man, woman, or whoever you are, boy or girl, that your needs be met according to His riches and glory by Christ Jesus. And I bless you and praise you. Thank God for blessing you, and you praise and give Him glory, and and God will bless you and anoint you. And I pray this upon you today in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, Josh, we're done.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be back next week on Monday. And I think you'll be back this afternoon, correct?
Yes.
With Talkback Live Sports at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so don't miss that, folks. And one good thing about serving the Lord, you don't have to be super spiritual. You know how some people say, they're super spiritual, they don't know anything. You can't go to work, you can't eat, you can't drive down the road, you can't, you have to be, some people talk super spiritual, try to talk super spiritual and all that. No, you can just be yourself and get the revelation of God, and you can just live your life. And the Holy Spirit in the name of Jesus and the power of God will come upon you, and you can be a blessing to people. All right. All right, folks, that's going to do it. And thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend. If you're looking for some of the best old-fashioned burgers and cakes in town, Lotta Burger is the place to go for all of your favorites. Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6:45 p.m. And the items on their menu include single doubles, triple burgers, Philly sandwiches, smoked sausage, beef hot dogs, grilled cheese, tenders, fries, onion rings, and more. Call-in orders must be done before 11 a.m. No calls accepted after 11 a.m. Drive-thru is available. Hungry for a burger? Lotta Burger, 2260 South 3rd, Memphis, Tennessee, 901-946-2001. Don't just settle for any burger. Get a Lotta Burger.
Are you tired of going to the doctor with the same issue over and over again and never getting any relief? Are you tired of buying all types of vitamins and supplements, hoping but not knowing for sure that they will keep you healthy? Or are you getting enough of the right kind of nutrients that your specific body needs? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you need a nutritional blood analysis. With a nutritional blood analysis, we can take one drop of blood from a prick of your finger and analyze your body's nutritional needs, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional imbalances. This analysis can provide an early warning of possible future health challenges so you can make the changes now to avoid the negative outcome. A nutritional blood analysis can be used to monitor a health challenge before and after adopting an approach to restore health and balance. It will also allow you the ability to determine the effectiveness of various approaches to restoring and balancing your health. So don't wait. Make your appointment. Stop guessing with your health. Know what works for sure. 901-602-7063.
Graphic Printing, located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, a complete print shop for all your printing needs. They do it all: color copy, resumes, funeral programs, rubber stamp, full color business cards, wedding and graduation invitations, and more. 30 plus years of quality work and service. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Located at 890 East Range Road in Memphis, Tennessee, 901-345-9294. Graphic Printing. CJU's Appliances, located at 3530 Jackson Avenue here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-487-7882. CJU's Appliances at the best prices in town. Sales and service, heating and air. Also the best appliances you'll find anywhere in the Mid-South. Refrigerators, microwave stoves, washers and dryers, deep freezers, dishwashers, whatever you need in used appliances. And folks will tell you they're the best used appliances anywhere you'll find. That's CJU's Appliances, 3530 Jackson Avenue. All appliances come with warranty. You can call them at 901-487-7882. Again, 901-487-7882. CJU's Appliances. C&S Motors Auto Sales, located at 2508 Sun Avenue, here in Memphis, Tennessee. Call them at 901-323-8778. C&S Motors Auto Sales has been around since 1984. Go by and see Chris today for some of the best pre-owned and used vehicles in the city. They have SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, whatever you're looking for in pre-owned used vehicles. Hey, you can find it right there at C&S Motors Auto Sales. See Chris since 1984. They will treat you right. Call them at 901-323-8778. That's 901-323-8778. 2508 Summer Avenue, C&S Motors Auto Sales.
This is Sergeant Chris Richardson with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, here to explain the Tennessee Hands-Free Law, which is a new state law effective July 1st, 2019. In Public Chapter 412, it makes it illegal for a driver to hold a cell phone or a mobile device with any part of their body, to write, send, or read any text-based communication, to reach for a cell phone or a mobile device in a manner that requires the driver to no longer be in a seated driving position or properly restrained by a seatbelt, to watch a video or a movie on a cell phone or a mobile device, and to record or broadcast video on a cell phone or a mobile device. So, can I still talk on my cell phone while driving? Yes. A driver is permitted to use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. The driver may use one button on a cell phone or a mobile device to initiate or terminate voice communication, and then voice-based communication may also be used to send a text message. Learn more at handsfreetn.com.